T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by. 5 minutes. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. 2 minutes. 1 minute. 0 minutes. 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 0 minutes.
How about that?
Previously on Landman. Oh, wait. Wrong show. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody, on a Wednesday, a hump day for those who celebrate. It's episode number 1650 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. And, well, some of you may like this. A lot of you may not. Hi. It's just you and me in hour one. RP solo. So that means you got to help me out here as the viewers are the co-hosts on the program. Coming to you on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 U.S. states, and moving to Nevada in hour two on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. And as we told you yesterday, it is a very special day today because worlds are colliding, Jerry. Worlds are colliding. Canadian Football League star, but Nevada Wolfpack star alum, Cody Fajardo, is our special guest in hour two of the Edmonton Elks. So I'm very much looking forward to chatting with Cody. Here's the little thing as I was talking to our business manager, Joe, about this morning. For the 6 months of the CFL season, you can't get a hold of these guys because they're playing, they're coaching, they're working. But in the offseason, you can. They have the time. So we're going to get as many of these guys on as we can, and they are our friends, and it's all good stuff. Okay, but listen, it is winter, and it is Canada after all. As we said, this is the Canadian hour of the program on the Game Plus television network. So let's start with hockey. And speaking of worlds colliding, Thomas Hertl scored on the power play at 4:47 of overtime. And Vegas beat Winnipeg. How about that? 4-3 on Tuesday night, handing the Jets their 10th straight loss. Riley Smith had a goal and a helper. Mitch Marner also had a power play goal. And Brett Howden scored for the Golden Knights, who snapped a 5-game skid. Sorry to say we predicted yesterday that was going to happen. Kata Hot made 17 saves. But as I said, another loss for the Jets, and that's the poll question today. Hang on. Cole Perfetti, Luke Schenn, and Kyle Connor scored for the Jets. Gabe Velarde had 2 assists. Connor Hellebuck had 27 saves as the Jets fell to 0-6-4 during their last streak. So we'll open up with hockey, obviously. More Golden Knights talk in hour two because they're not listening right now. But Winnipeg, our number 2 city for viewership, a lot of Jets fans tuning in. And as I wrote in my commentary today, it runs on Saskatchewan radio, I said, what's wrong with the Jets? I need to watch more of their games. And while I'm confident in my own opinion, I've watched 2 periods of Winnipeg Jets hockey all year. What I see is they're the 32nd team in the NHL, the worst team in the NHL. And you know what? I sent a text message to a hockey friend of mine, and I promised to keep it anonymous. Okay. And he gave me the goods. He goes, as long as you don't tell anybody who I am, I'll tell you my thoughts, because he's a hockey guy, but he's still working in the game. So he's like, he's pretty paranoid. So before I tell you what he said, and by the way, I trust him implicitly. We've known each other for a very, 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 very long time, decades. The poll question is, what's wrong with Winnipeg Jets? Is it A, simply missing Nikolai Ehlers? Is it B, coaching? Because from the outside, that's kind of how it looks. 3, the window's closed, as I heard Friday night at the Winter Classic in the press box before the game. Or D, all of the above. Montgomery Brewster, all of the above. And that's what's leading. 74% of you are saying all of the above. The roof is caved in on the Winnipeg Jets. Now, as I said to my hockey guy this morning, I said, just watching the games, I would say it's coaching because there's a distinct lack of chemistry on the ice. They're not playing in any regard as cohesive as they have the past several years, let alone last year when they won the President's Trophy. And I'll paraphrase for you because he sent me a list like this. And again, he's like, as long as you keep it anonymous, I'll tell you what I see. He goes, everything's caught up to them. They've gotten old. They don't want to play youth. Combining with my thoughts as well, this is a hybrid. The general manager there, Kevin Cheveldayoff, everybody's on his ass. He built the number 1 team in the NHL in the market, voted by NHL players as the least desirable to play. This is not a Kevin Cheveldayoff problem. But, you know, he said many times in his text, we don't have oceans, we don't have mountains, we don't have sunshine. Okay, we have community, we have a lot of great things in Winnipeg, but it doesn't compare to a lot of other places. It's just a convergence of a lot of things. The lack of commitment to youth. Some players aren't playing up to their potential, which is what I'm hearing from a lot of Jets fans today. They're specifically calling out numbers of players, what their jersey number is. Sorry, you've heard enough about this in Winnipeg. I don't want to go on too long and be too negative. But what do you think? What do you all think is the reason? Basically, this guy said it's all of the above as well. And I'm unfortunately going to have to say this season is over for the Winnipeg Jets. But to be firing, they're saying it's not the coach. It's not Scott Arniel. So what we see from the outside, their lack of chemistry and cohesion is not on him. It's a lot of things have converged upon Scott Arniel. So I'm glad that I heard from this hockey guy to point that out. Now, that's just my opening monologue. You may or may not agree, but this is what the hockey people in the NHL in Winnipeg are saying. But there are other more positive things. Matthew Nyes scored a goal and set up Austin Matthews to push Toronto to a 4-1 victory over the Florida Panthers in Scotiabank Arena last night. Former Leafs captain Matt Sundin was in attendance, part of a pregame ceremony to mark Austin Matthews becoming the all-time franchise leader in goals. I watched almost all of that game. I had a meeting during the first period, out of the house, came back, watched the final two periods, and I got a lot of Leaf fan friends. And we made bets. Just lunch, not cash. And you know what? They won the bets. I'm going to be buying a lot of lunches for my Leaf fan friends. But you know what? The Panthers just didn't have it. The thing that I don't like about the Florida team, and we're doing our Cats and Bolts podcast this afternoon, I'll mention more of it there, is that you don't really know what you're going to get on a night-to-night basis with them. And it's probably driving Paul Maurice nuts. But they know when they want to turn it up, they can, and they can beat everybody. They're just saving it. That's all. They're just saving it. So congratulations, Leafs. As we all know, you'll lose to the Panthers in the playoffs when it matters. And Connor McDavid scored 3 goals, including 1 on a penalty shot, and Leon Draisaitl had a goal and 2 assists as the Edmonton Oilers beat the Nashville Predators 6-2. Connor Ingram, pride of Imperial Sask, glad you asked, finished with 24 saves. Oilers have placed goaltender Tristan Jarry on the long-term injured list. Oilers fans, do you regret trading away Stuart Skinner? I'm just asking. So that's just popping the lid on this program today in the warm-up. We've got a lot of things to get to. NFL, a lot of NFL. NHL tonight, Gary Bettman's in Utah making an announcement, believed to be on an outdoor game for Salt Lake City. We got a lot to get to. So we'll be back in a moment, everybody. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network. Don't forget to text us, 902-518-3033 on the Western Dodge text line. You're also enjoying on YouTube Live. Give us a like in the break. Podcast at 1700 WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks? Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Back at it on the RP Show, everybody. And our picks are brought to you weekly by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Okay, before we jump to the NFL, we go fast here, and I appreciate you all chiming in and helping me out in terms of being the co-host of the program today. It's the most interactive show on your television or radio or streaming on a daily basis anyways, but on Wednesdays, hour one, when it's just me, we hear even more from the viewers. For instance, regarding the poll question, what's wrong with the Winnipeg Jets? If you joined us late, that's the poll for EMJ Marketing. Is it missing Nikolai Ehlers, who signed with Carolina in free agency? Is it coaching? Is it the windows closed? Or is it D, all of the above? Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba writes in, he says, hi, Rod, Jets, all of the above. Last year, a number of players had career years, not this year. Loss of Ehlers, Mason Appleton's hurt, replacements are terrible, go for the number one draft pick. Literally, who saw this coming? Not this guy. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he's watching on Game Plus TV. And I want to spend a special shout out, by the way, to Jeremy in the Game Plus control room who wrote me this morning and said, Happy New Year. Same to you, Jeremy. I say you can say Happy New Year to the end of January. I've said that forever. Apparently, Larry David says only till the end of the first weekend of the new year. Not me. Jeremy said Happy New Year this morning, and he also said the world's a cesspool. And I'm like, I can't disagree with that either. Well, he said the internet is, not the world, which it's kind of the world. But anyways, Kirk in Toronto writes, and he says, hey, Rod, I like your takes, just not all of them. I like you. I am football, baseball, hockey, team sports guy. Oh, and rest in peace, Leaf great, and four-time Stanley Cup winner Bob Pulford. Yes, passing away at the age of 89. I look at him as a Chicago Blackhawks great, and maybe I should get Lorne Mulliken on because he has some unbelievable Bob Pulford stories from the Chicago Blackhawks days when Lorne was the head coach of the team and Pulley, as they say, was running it. There was a story echoing in the back of my mind. Lorne Mulliken was fired. We all get fired eventually. It happens. Lorne was fired, and I think they were Bob Pulford was trying to convince Lorne to quit. I've been in that position. They don't want to pay you out, so they try to do everything possible to make you quit. My lawyer said to me, no matter what you do not quit. I said, don't worry. After what I've been through, I can withstand anything. And the same thing Lorne Mulligan said to Bob Pulford. Don't worry, Pully. I ain't effing quitting. And Lorne got his payout. It's just what bosses do. It's not personal, they always say, but it sure feels like it. On that Jets thing, John Ohm says lots of fans in Winnipeg want Chevy to fall on the sword. A lot of this is on him. Well, I would say nothing's off the table, but if I was Mark Chipman and who's the other owner, Darryl Thompson, I wouldn't be firing Kevin Cheveldayoff. We talked about this yesterday. Owners don't like firing coaches and GMs for a variety of reasons, and I don't think that it's his fault. He's done a remarkable job there, Kevin Cheveldayoff. Fans are going to be fans, and if you listen to them, you'll soon be sitting with them. So point 2, all your opinions, by the way, are welcome as we roll along here. It starting to go fast now. John Harbaugh has been fired after 18 seasons as the Baltimore Ravens coach. Owner Steve Bisciotti said Tuesday that he's relieving Harbaugh of his duties after the Ravens were one of the league's most disappointing teams this season. They went 8-9, missed the playoffs. After entering week 1 as one of the Super Bowl favorites, Baltimore's season ended Sunday night when Tyler Loop missed a last-second field goal, allowing Pittsburgh to hold on for a 26-24 victory in the game that decided the AFC North title. So have you been following, I'm sure you have, NFL coverage all morning long? It got to the point where this morning when I was out for my run, I had to pull my headphones out and go I had to listen to something else. Enough about John Harbaugh, because that's all that it's been. And you didn't come here for that. But I will say this. I'm not going to throw Scruffy under the bus. He and I were talking about Harbaugh, whether it was Monday or Tuesday, one of the 2 days on this show earlier this week. And we said, well, Harbaugh's safe. They're not going to fire him. And they did. Not Phil Simms. His son, Chris Simms, said this morning on NBC Sports Radio that this firing of John Harbaugh was shocking. And I would think we all would agree with that. But 18 seasons in Baltimore, he is the 15th winningest coach of all time in the NFL. You may think that's not high. That's very high on the list when you consider all of the coaches that have come to the NFL. John Harbaugh's won the 15th most games, but not enough this year. But when you sit back and think about it, they were Super Bowl favorites going into the year. I would say the majority of people had Baltimore picked as their Super Bowl favorite in the AFC, and they missed the playoffs. Somebody has to pay for that, and they're not going to get rid of Lamar Jackson. As much as they say there's a rift between the coach and the quarterback, the players, especially now, generally do win. And I'm not saying that that's not the reason John Harbaugh was fired. He was fired because they missed the playoffs. But I find it interesting. I mean, I don't sit back and offer my opinion a lot on social media. I do it here, but I enjoy looking at the opinions. And Andy McNamara, who was on this show yesterday, the Sick podcast on the Cleveland Browns, he tweeted after this firing, he goes, "We will take him in Cleveland immediately." And New York Giants fans are saying the exact same thing. So John Harbaugh is not going to be out of work long. Hey, Rich is in. Hey, Rich, he writes in. He says, after missing 2 months due to health reasons, it's great to be back on the RP show. It's great to have you back. And the Rod squad's all welcoming you back, which must, I would hope, make you feel real good. Oh, by the way, Carlos in Indianapolis writes in. He says, so Loop missing that field goal. He goes, so Loop basically picked which coach got fired on Sunday with that kick. As if the kid doesn't feel bad enough, Tyler Loop, for missing the field goal. Then the coach loses his job. But we'll all move on from this, you and me, within days. But in terms of, if you ever needed any more illustration of the fine line between winning and losing, and who's a winner and who's a loser, and who keeps their job and who doesn't, Sunday night in the NFL, the final game of the regular season decided it all. The kicker misses a game-winning field goal, and the coach gets fired after 18 seasons. It's bad enough the kid was a rookie and missed that field goal. Oh, my God. Has anybody checked on him today? Jeff, the Stamps fan, chiming in. He says he wouldn't be out of work long. All ended because of a kicker. Can't argue that. I'd like to, but I can't. Rob is watching in Las Vegas. He says the Winnipeg Jets have a 4-game homestand and need to go on a run. If not, they need a major shakeup. Other than lack of depth scoring, it's a mystery how the Jets are in last place. And Rob in Las Vegas goes on to say, I think Harbaugh lands with the New York Giants. Well, they say, I found this quite interesting. Adam Schefter is reporting that there are 7 teams that called Harbaugh's agent about his availability. And at the time, there were only 6 openings. So one team that already has a head coach was calling the agent to see if they could. Before we fire our guy, would John consider coming to blankety blank? Probably Dallas, the way we do things there. Yes, welcome back, Rich in Edmonton. Everybody's excited to have you back. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, with Rob in Vegas pointing out his thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets problems, we did talk about this earlier, and that's the poll question. You saw what the poll question is. Is it because they're missing Nikolai Ehlers? Is it a coaching issue? Is it the fact the window's closed? Or is it all the above? And leading the way is all of the above. To be honest, I was sitting in the press box media room before the Winter Classic Friday night, and a close friend of mine in the NHL media circles, we were talking about exactly this. And he goes, the window's closed. They should have won when they had that run of great teams, and they didn't. The window's closed. And to be honest, I've thought about it a lot since he said that Friday night, because it was like a stake to the heart. I'm like, I don't want it to be closed. I like Winnipeg a lot, and I like the Jets. Mark Chipman is an unreal guy. We worked together on the Humboldt Broncos tragedy cleanup together, the recovery effort together. He's a super guy. You don't want bad things for great people, and that's what's going on in Winnipeg. It's tragic, all of it. So, yeah, and I'm not, hey, Rob, you're right. A major shakeup is needed. So what is that? Define that. Rick Bowness stepped down. Ehlers left. They've had a lot of shakeups as it is. Point 3, somewhat of a fun one. This is just something I scooped off the Associated Press wire this morning. The 2025 NFL season has been dominated by first-round quarterbacks with veterans like Matthew Stafford and newcomers like Drake May and Caleb Williams leading the way. A record 12 of the 14 playoff teams are starting first-round quarterbacks. This season, 81% of games were won by quarterbacks chosen in the first round, the highest since the draft began in 1967. This is, to use producer Corey's a term of his, it's a little propeller head, a little nerdy football talk here, but the playoffs will feature 4 quarterbacks picked first overall, including Matt Stafford and Bryce Young. Rams at the Panthers on Saturday. That's the first game of all of them. The NFC North became the second division in Super Bowl history where every team finished above 500. How about that? And the new kickoff rule increased return rates, contributing to the highest scoring season since 2020. So basically, the NFL not only has it going on, like Stacey's mom, which we all knew that it did, but here's some statistical data to back it up, and also just and quirky things too. Every team in the NFC North finished above 500. So, and the highest number of first-round drafted quarterbacks will be featured in round 1 of the playoffs. So I was thinking there's a bit of a tie-in here to today's guest. You people from Edmonton, Elks fans, are going to be happy that Cody Fajardo is joining us in hour 2. And he's a Nevada guy, lives in Reno. It's just a perfect fit for our Nevada viewers on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and, of course, for the CFL fans that watch across Canada. But with the Raiders, you're probably going to take Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall. I'm going to have to – this story is going to take longer than – we have time for in this segment. I'll carry it over into the next segment. But I just think about Cody Fajardo and his time in Saskatchewan, which everybody thinks we worked together, and we did not. His first season came after my last, after 20 in Saskatchewan, but we just clicked. Souls tend to do that. And I couldn't remember. You guys were saying they're singing Fernando in Las Vegas. I couldn't remember the song or what it was. And then I'm like, oh, wait. They sang that song at the Jay and Dan podcast live show at the Connexus Credit Union. I was there, filled the place, And Cody came out on stage carrying a Western pizza, delivering it to Jay and Dan in their podcast from TSN to the strains of Fajardo, the ABBA song Fernando. It all ties in. And I thought, oh my, I was so happy. I had just been fired as voice of the Rough Riders, but I was happy because everybody was happy in the room. And Cody's a great guy. And I'm like, this is just so great. And it didn't last. And just so you know, I'm not even going to ask him about Saskatchewan when he joins us in hour 2 because there's so many great things going on in his life now. But it's going to be a fun chat. Vancouver Eric writes in and he says, Cody, nice job, RP. Well, that's an easy one. I just said, hey, Cody, pick a day all week long that you're available at 1:15 Eastern. He's like, Wednesday. Wednesday it is. That's today. Cody Fajardo will be with us coming up in hour 2. Keep these questions coming in. I'll put them on the tee, and I'll try and knock them out of the park, or at least lay down a bunt. Keep them coming. 902-518-3033 on the Western Dodge text line or on the YouTube chat. And we'll be right back here on the Game Plus television network.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you're having fun. I'll tell you what, I probably got enough comments have come in from the viewers to last us up until when Cody Fajardo joins us in hour 2, but that should not preclude you from writing in yours. 902-518-3033 on the Western Dodge text line on whatever you would like to talk about. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Again, pick up your phone, text me, 902-518-3033. Does your message stand out, by the way, at Outlaw Communications? We make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise to the role. From media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content, he'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. And for the junior hockey fans, we do the chat every day, the Junior Hockey Report for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Tonight in the Dub, there are 5 games. Red Deer is at Brandon. Edmonton is at Swifty. Seattle's at Lethbridge. Penticton is at Prince George. And Tri-City is at Kelowna. Warriors off tonight, the pesky Warriors. And God's team, the Regina Pats. But when you're in Moose Jaw, before or after the game, to go watch the Warriors, would you stop in at the Mad Greek? From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. Tell Johnny you treat us, the Mad Greek. You saw us talking about him. You're looking for a pizza this weekend for NFL Wildcard Weekend? Make it the Mad Greek. Even if you're not in Moose Jaw, go pick it up. Okay, from the audience, again, we're all over the place. I'm going to, in a good way. Stephen writes in. He says, hello, Rod. It's Steve, your resident Anaheim Ducks fan down here in San Diego. How long is the downturn going to last? Let's hope they get hot following the Olympic break. If so, will they still make the playoffs? Yes, you understand that you can't keep your pedal to the metal for 82 games. You can't redline for 82 games. I see the Ducks have lost 3 in a row, which incidentally, that's why I don't like the Christmas break and being off the air here, because I take my eye off the ball, and I was doing my top 5, bottom 5, looking at who's hot, who's not in the NHL, which we may get to this hour, we may not. And I'm like, oh, the Ducks have lost 3 in a row. They've slipped considerably out of the top 5. I don't even think they're in the top 10 anymore. But their coach is in the running for Coach of the Year, and Anaheim will be there in the end. But I'm not Nostradamus, which, by the way, I was reading Nostradamus's predictions for 2026, and it ain't good. Just if somebody gets struck by a lightning bolt this year, don't say Nostradamus didn't tell you that it wasn't going to happen, because he did. But he didn't talk about the Anaheim Ducks, oddly enough. So all I'm saying is the Ducks will be in the playoffs, so don't worry about that, Steve. That's my long way of saying that. Jason in Red Deer writes in, and he says, God, I miss all the Greek pizza joints in Saskatchewan. Yeah, right. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that's okay. Brent in Saskatoon writes in and says, my Detroit Lions were 9-8 and out of the playoffs. Last night fired their offensive coordinator, John Morton. Dan Campbell was calling plays in games. Be curious about his replacement. It is a little head spinning right now in terms of the coaches being fired, because not only are there guys out of jobs, but there's a lot of teams that are interviewing coordinators that are still in the playoffs. The Denver Broncos offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are both interviewing for jobs. Now, they have this week off because of a bye, but it just seems wrong to me. But it's just how this game and world has changed. To the text line, 902-518-3033. Laverne in Swifty writes in, he says, I see a lot of frustration in the coaching staff in Winnipeg. And say what you want, but Jonathan Toews really hasn't done a lot to help the Jets. I feel like I'm just going to read these. I'm not going to offer comments on what everybody has to say. Tony's watching in the Bridge City. He writes in, he says, happy Wednesday, Rod and gang. I am of the opinion that there are teams getting ready for a playoff game right now, and their management team's thinking, if this doesn't go our way, let's give John Harbaugh a call. I'm thinking maybe Buffalo and Green Bay are on that wavelength. Just my opinion. Have a great day, Rod. Well, as Harbaugh's agent pointed out one team who currently has a head coach has inquired about John Harbaugh's availability, which I find amazing. I kind of wonder why the agent felt the need to say that, which reminds me, I tried to go down this road and then I got lost in fog, my own brain fog, prior to the break. I'm just trying to find out what to say and what not to say in this second stage of my career to ensure that my head doesn't get cut off like the first stage of my career. Capiche? Point being, a month ago, or coming right out of Grey Cup, when I asked Cody Fajardo initially to come on this show, he said that he would come on when he found out, or when he determined where he was going to be in 2026. I'm like, huh? What does that mean? And found out that he had an job offer from the University of Nevada to be the quarterback's coach there. But I'm like, I'm not going to report that. I said to Cody, out of respect for you, I'm not going to report any of this. Okay, you just sort out, do what you got to do. And then this morning, believe it or not, as I'm doing research for this show, I actually do it from time to time. I see this article that was on 3 Down and then picked up in a Nevada newspaper about Cody had this opportunity at Nevada. And I'm like, oh, so it's been reported. Okay. I just didn't want to spill the beans. I didn't know if Cody wanted it out there, but Cody said it in the 3 Down article. That's one of the many things that we'll ask him about next hour. Wayne in BC, by the way, writes in and he says, good morning, Rod. I'm very much looking forward to hearing from Cody Fajardo, whom I've always liked. And Wayne says, by the way, I think 2026 is going to be a great year for the CFL. The battle for first place in the West especially will be tight. Even the Eastern Division should be an interesting race for first. That's from Wayne in Victoria, BC. And it was Bud Grant, who legendary head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Minnesota Vikings, who said the CFL West Division is the toughest division in pro football, period. Forget about all the NFL divisions. The CFL West is the toughest meat grinder in pro football. I never forgot that, and we'll ask Cody about that when he joins us next hour. I think he's right. Bud Grant said it. It's got to be true. Bill in Brantford, Ontario writes in, the home of Wayne Gretzky, which, by the way, I was with Wayne Gretzky Friday night at the Winter Classic here. Me, him, and 45,000 other people. Wasn't with Wayne, but anyways, Bill writes in, he says, NHL arenas used to only have one penalty box. Both teams shared the same penalty box. Okay, no, I didn't know that. Anyways, he says, Terry Harper and Bob Pulford got into a fight in the box. Pulford's skate cut Harper during the fight. So the NHL decided separate penalty boxes became mandatory. Signed, Bill in Brantford, Ontario. That sounds like a tall tale to me, Bill, but I wasn't even alive then, so I'll take your word for it. Hell of a story. I'm very Googleable, I'm sure, but I'll trust you. John writes in, how about this? John is in Rosthern, the home of Don Whitman, or the birthplace of. John says, hey, Rod, Rodo's Pizza in Moose Jaw is the best. Go Blades. Rodo's in Moose Jaw is just down the road from where I stay when I'm in Moose Jaw in the summer. And that pizza is probably, but aside from Vern's Pizza, Rodo's would be the next thickest pizza I've ever seen in my life. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, the Bluebirds have signed prized Japanese free agent, the Big Oak Okamoto. How about that? Where's Bo Bichette going to sign? Period. End of story. Open up my computer this morning and I see Bo Bichette, trending, Bo Bichette. I'm like, oh, you don't normally want to be trending. As a public person, I can tell you that's not necessarily a good thing. But Bo Bichette is, as we are in free agency in Major League Baseball, and it's interesting, people saying, why would he not sign in Toronto? There's a lot of reasons, sorry to say. About as many reasons as there are that the Winnipeg Jets are last place in the NHL. All these notes, and I haven't even got to all of them. So, yeah, we'll be right back after this timeout. Sports update coming up. Viewer takeover the rest of the way. Cody Fajardo in hour 2. It's just me and you today here on the Game Plus television network.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As I say, tons and tons and tons of comments coming in from our viewers today, which I appreciate immensely. Thank you. Previously on Landman. Any Landman comments out there? We talked about it a lot yesterday. I had a talk this morning with a good old hockey guy this morning. Perry Shockey. He's not the one that gave me the take on the Winnipeg Jets, by the way. We talked about Landman for 90% of the phone call. Perry S. Hockey in Lethbridge. Regarding the Terry Harper, Bob Pulford fight in the penalty box, Bill in Brantford writes, and he says, a true story. Harper and Pulford fought in the penalty box, Rod. It happened. October 30th, 1963. I watched the game. I trust you. I'm just saying I'd never heard the story before. I'm old school media. I need corroboration. Two sources. That's all, Bill. Don't be upset. Darren writes in from Melfort, where they do the Melfort Shuffle. He says, I just noticed a CFL game was on in the background in the show Ozark on Netflix, which was meaning to be in Missouri. Pretty neat. Did you know that? I might have forgot, but caught it a second time through. Don't remember seeing that. I watched Ozark. Love it. Big Jason Bateman fan here. But here's a little thing that I know from years and years in the media plus the CFL. For whatever reason, it's not fair, but remember that old show, Simon and Simon? This is where I first learned this. I love that show, Simon and Simon. Whatever happened to the blonde guy? We know what happened to Gerald McRaney, but what happened to the blonde guy? I love that guy. But they had a CFL game on in the back. This was in the 80s. I thought it was great, and found out that they couldn't air NFL games because of copyright laws in the U.S., but they can air CFL games because they can. For the same reason a dog licks his nuts, because he can. Copyright law, I don't believe, crosses the border. So Ozark would be the latest show, great show, to use CFL games in the background on the television of their scenes. Allie in Sherwood Park writes in, he says, good morning, RP. Kevin and I are looking forward to your interview with Cody, too. When we met him, he was great to chat with and was so good with all the fans at the Edmonton Fan Fest held in Sherwood Park last spring. Edmonton has a great face of the team, and Cody, have a great day. Well, that, by the way, was the thing. When Cody and I were going back and forth a month ago, when he was saying he didn't know where he was going to play, I, within seconds, sent a message to my Edmonton people and said, what's going on here? Cody says he might not be back. And the Edmonton people were like, we want him. It's just taking a little time. It was a business thing. That was all. So what did I say yesterday? When two sides have a desire, they should be able to come together. And that's what happened with the Edmonton and Cody Fajardo situation. Okay, thank you, Jason in Red Deer. He writes, and he says, after watching Landman on Sunday, I can't wait to get old and get a physical therapist. You don't got to be old. You just got to have a fistful of 50s. So I'm told. Bill writes in, how about this? This is wild. This is another Bill, not Bill in Brantford. It's another Bill. Bill Edwards from the Queen City. He writes in, he says, on this day, October 30th, 1963, a fight in the penalty box at Maple Leaf Gardens between Toronto Maple Leaf Bob Pulford and Montreal Canadian Terry Harper led to the creation of separate boxes. It was today in 1963? That's amazing. Okay, thank you. And then Pulley passed away yesterday. Man, a day short of the anniversary of separate penalty boxes being introduced in the National Hockey League. As Rick Regan would say, how about that? Darcy in Grand Prairie writes, and he says, love Landman. Previously on Landman. Oh, I love it so much. And it's funny because I've never worked a day in the oil industry. I'm pretty sure I won't. But I've got oil friends who say that is exactly like the oil industry. I will say this, Midland, Texas looks very similar to the stretch of geography between Milestone, Saskatchewan, and Estevan, where I'm from. Like, bang on. But I don't know what goes on in the drilling rigs. I've never been on one, and God willing, they won't allow me near it. Just this morning, I had a guy say it's extremely far-fetched. An oil guy that I was, not Perry Shockey, another oil guy. But it's like Yellowstone. You know, that's where I come from. Nobody herds cattle with helicopters. Give me a break. We used to use ATVs, and that was cool. But no, never helicopters. Which I will say one last thing on that because I'm getting way off track, and that I feel like that's what a lot of you were trying to do. We would herd cattle. There were three of us boys, and me and my one brother he'd be on a motorcycle, I'd be on an ATV at front, and our oldest brother, he was the legit cowboy out of, like, he would be dressed like a cowboy. He would have to saddle up his horse and do it right. Why would we go through the work when we can just press a button and have a four-wheel ATV do it? It's not the cowboy way. Well, we're not cowboys, so you do you. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. Collectors, listen up. Hockey cards, autographs, and fan memorabilia, all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't wait. Shop ultimatefanzone.ca. There are 12 games in the NBA tonight, including one in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the 13-23 Hornets host the 22-15 Toronto Raptors, who have won 2 in a row. Raps fourth in the East, 8 positions up on the Hornets. Star Canadian kicker Sean White has signed a 1-year extension with the BC Lions. The 40-year-old played in his 17th CFL season last year, had a career-high field goal percentage of 95.1. Former Texas star and NFL receiver Jordan Shipley was in an accident yesterday on his ranch near Burnett, Texas, that left him hospitalized with severe burns. Shipley was operating a machine that caught fire. He was driven to a local hospital and later taken to Austin on a medical transport flight. He is listed in critical but stable condition. That's why I stay away from that stuff. We wish him well. And that is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store, Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. It goes by so darn fast, doesn't it? 902-518-3033 is the text line. What do we have here? Thank you, Alan, for chiming in from Winnipeg. He's watching. He says the problem with the Jets is the players. They need to get back to playing to defensive first structure. There's still 40 games to reach a wild card spot. Assessments are for the end of the season. I know. Yeah. You're making too much sense, Alan, for anybody that hangs around here. But so this is why, if you follow what I do, and you're here, so you must. I said, I don't totally feel comfortable offering an assessment on the Winnipeg Jets because I've watched 2 periods of their games this year. The 2 things I noticed were that it's largely all the same players. Yeah, you have some different bit pieces, but it's the same core, similar to the Florida Panthers, and they're playing completely non-cohesive. There's no chemistry whatsoever. So where the heck is this from the hockey guy this morning? Yeah, you missed this off the start, Alan. I texted a guy. When a team is unable to attract, he said, you can use what I said, just don't tell anybody who I am. When a team is unable to attract talented free agents and have to resort to filling holes with cast-offs and has-beens, this is the result. Coupled with the fact that for whatever reason they don't want to inject youth into the lineup, this team is missing both right now. Poor start has snowballed into an avalanche of self-doubt. The threat of if you don't perform soon, we're going to move you is likely seen as a good thing. Welcome for some guys. Some guys have wives that prefer Sunset Drive over snow-covered Portage Avenue. I said, can I cut and paste that? And he said, anonymously? Sure. Does that sound like something that you might be interested in? So you said the problem's the players. That's why I had the options here of what's wrong with the Jets. Is it missing Nikolai Ehlers? I mean, that's one thing for sure. But look at these Florida Panthers. They have missed Alexander Barkov, their captain, and Matthew Tkachuk all year, and they're relevant. They're in the conversation. They're competitive. The Jets aren't even competitive. So it's not one guy is what I'm saying. And I said to my hockey friend, I said, thank you for the assessment because just from my limited watching, it looks like coaching. Because frankly, the coach is responsible for everything on that ice. Is he not? At least unless you know what's going on in the dressing room, which I don't. And by the way, I tried to get Biggie Munns, Brian Munns on, but he's had vocal cord surgery. It wasn't Munnsy, just so you know. Did you know there's a lot of hockey people in Winnipeg? And I know a lot of them. So, yeah, you would never guess who it is. John Ohm says, nailed it, Rod. No chemistry in Winnipeg. Well, tell Alan that because he's saying there's still half a season to go. Assessments for the end of the season. You need to fix it. And Rob in Las Vegas wrote in and said they need a shakeup. Well, what would that be? You're not firing a coach. I guess you could make a trade or two. You got your goalie back. I get it. Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. And by the way, I didn't get to like any of what I wanted to here. That can come in hour 2 along with the Cody Fajardo interview. But my top 5, bottom 5, it didn't look good to look at the bottom 3 overall standings in the NHL and see Winnipeg, Vancouver, and Calgary. That sucks as a Canadian hockey fan, of which I am. That's dreadful. Paul in Humboldt writes in, he says, Austin Matthews gets hot and the Leafs start winning. No. P.S. Bob Pulford was tough. Yeah, we talked a lot about Pully here today and some stories shared with the permission of Lauren Mulligan. Cody Fajardo next hour and more of this. We'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, hello there. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. It is your favorite daytime sports talk show. We've got a lot to get to, as Jerry Reed would say. A long way to go in a short time to get there. So we'll get to the quick six show topics real quickly. But it's a very special day. Viewers in both countries will know this name. We are on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 U.S. states. We are welcoming the state of Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We got your Wolfpack star alum, Cody Fajardo, coming up in the next segment. And for those that don't know, and I can't believe that you wouldn't, but I just called it up. You can look it up on Wikipedia, just so you know. It's very easy to do. Cody Fajardo from Brea, California. Played at the University of Nevada 2010 to 2014. Spent 2015 with the Oakland Raiders of the National Football League. And then to the CFL, where he spent 3 seasons with the Toronto Argonauts, 1 season with the BC Lions, 4 years with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's where we got acquainted with each other. 2 seasons with the Montreal Alouettes, where he won the Grey Cup in 2023 and was named the MVP of the championship game. And now he's the quarterback of the Edmonton Elcamos. And he'll be joining us coming up in the next segment after this one. For those that have tuned in and said, where's Cody? Where's mine Cody? He's coming up in the next segment. So it's a big day when we can combine Canada, Nevada, everybody's happy. Except for Winnipeg Jets fans as we roll into the Quick Six show topics here. Thomas Hertl scored on the power play for the Vegas Golden Knights at 4:47 of extra time. And Vegas beat the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 on Tuesday night at the Canada Life Center. Riley Smith. This is a very big goal scored by Hertl. Very big win for the Golden Knights because it snapped a 5-game losing streak. Riley Smith had a goal and a helper. Mitch Marner also had a power play goal, and Brett Howden scored for Vegas. Kata Hot made 17 saves. So I will only say this. I talk to too many people. That's one of my biggest problems. It was Dennis Bernstein on Monday from NHL Radio and thefourthperiod.com who said the Vegas Golden Knights are lacking on defense. And he might be right. Dennis has been following the NHL for a very long time, has a very well-read column, and he's an NHL Radio pundit. He said the Golden Knights are struggling on defense, which he's probably right. But here's the thing. That situation, if he's correct, will be addressed by the general manager, Kelly McCrimmon. So you don't need to worry about that. As long as Kelly McCrimmon is running the Vegas Golden Knights, they are going to be a contender, just like his days with the Brandon Wheat Kings. In the dub, trust me, I had a front row seat for it. Of a bigger concern is clearly the Winnipeg Jets. Cole Perfetti, Luke Shen, and Kyle Connor scored for Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck had 27 saves, but it wasn't enough. The Jets fell to 0-6-4 during this current 10-game losing streak. And it's brought about our poll question today, which has brought about a lot of opinions. And I know there's a lot of Winnipeggers that are in Las Vegas watching on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, whether they have relocated there or they're simply on vacation. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, you're upset. And I want the opinions today. I just woke up today and I thought, today's the day. We need to examine this. And I've only watched 2 periods of Winnipeg Jets hockey this year, so I'm not comfortable with offering a learned assessment. Let's hear from the fans. So the poll question is, what's wrong with the Winnipeg Jets? Is it, number one, that they're missing Nikolai Ehlers? Because that was the first thing I heard like 2 months ago, that he's signed in free agency with Carolina. That's a factor for sure, but it's not the only factor. It's one guy. Point 2, is it coaching, which quite frankly would have been my assessment. Just from what I saw, I'm like, oh, these guys aren't playing with any chemistry. It's like when I watched the Vancouver Canucks when they came through here with through Sunrise. I'm like, they are playing with zero emotion. I can't say the Jets are playing without emotion, but they're not playing together at all. You would put that on the coach in most cases, but apparently that's not right. Point 3, or the third option is the window closed on the Jets, which is what a lot of people think. Or is it D, all of the above? And the sad thing is everybody, or the majority, 74% of people are saying it's all of the above. It's all these things and more. And for the benefit of those that weren't watching an hour ago, I texted a hockey man, buddy of mine in Winnipeg. That's all I'll say, because that could be hundreds of guys. But I trust his opinion. I said, what do you see? And he basically said they won't commit to youth for whatever reason. There's basically a confidence issue that's pretty evident. Had a bad start, hard to come back from. And basically he's saying the season is done. They're the 32nd team in the NHL. argue that. Like, it probably is done. So what are you going to do? Rich in Edmonton, welcome back, by the way, after a 2-month hiatus. His own suspension, not ours. Rich says only 10 points out of a playoff spot. The West is still wide open. It's hard to make up ground with loser points, though. No, you got to win. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, bring up some Moose players for a look and see. I would think that all of these options are on the table. I would think they're looking at all of them, aside from firing the general manager, because that's not the problem. Kevin Cheveldayoff built the best team in the NHL last year in the regular season, the President's Trophy winners, and all of a sudden they're last place. This has been an historic drop from grace for the Jets, and I dropped my gong hammer. Oh, Brent writes in from the Bridge City. He says, I don't want to miss the Cody Fajardo interview. Lifelong Riders fan here. Some people were very unkind to him at times. I felt then and now he's a great guy. He is a great guy. But I vowed, maybe you weren't watching earlier, I'm not going to bring up his time in Saskatchewan. So if that's what you're waiting for, I'll tell you right now. Spoiler alert, I'm not bringing it up. Because so many great things have happened to him since. Like being the MVP of the CFL championship game in 2023 and now resurrecting the Edmonton Elcamos, which is what he's doing. Now, other games, listen, 6 minutes we've spent on the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's fine. Two of our biggest regions for viewership. It's worked out perfectly. Today's one of those days. Some of the other games, Matthew Nyes scored a goal and set up Austin Matthews on another to push the Toronto Maple Leafs to a 4-1 win over the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers Tuesday night. Watched the game. Simply wasn't the Panthers' night. It's going to be fun because later today I'll be doing the Cats and Bolts podcast, Florida's most watched NHL show, and I got Lightning fans mad at me. You're just a fan of the Panthers. Why do you even talk about Tampa? Because I live here. South Florida. But I'm critical of the Panthers too. And the only thing that I can say critically of the Florida Panthers is that you never know what you're going to get. They're a box of chocolates. The American viewers won't know what this is, but the Canadian viewers will. They're the pot of gold. You don't know what you're going to get with the Florida Panthers on a night-to-night basis. But it's not like but it could be worse. With some teams are so bad, you know what you're going to get. It's bad. We predicted the Jets were going to lose last night, and they did. Florida turns it up when they need to. I asked for viewer fan questions on that Panthers podcast, too, and they said one of them came in and said, what did you think of the Winter Classic jerseys? I think they're pretty awesome, but Panthers are 0-2 in them. No, wait a minute, 1-1. They lost the Winter Classic, got spanked 5-1 by the Rangers, but they did come back and beat Colorado on Sunday night. That's right. So they're 1-1 in the Winter Classic jerseys. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, not committing to youth is a Jets and Bombers problem. That's always largely the rub internally. Coaches want older players. GMs would like more youth. Who wins? What else? Oh, Connor McDavid scored 3 goals, including 1 on a penalty shot, and Leon Draisaitl had a goal and 2 assists as the Edmonton Oilers beat the Nashville Predators 6-2. Did you know there have been 9 hat tricks in the NHL this year? It's the year of the hat trick in the National Hockey League. 3 goals constitutes a hat trick. There have been 9 of them. There was 2 last night. Anthony Duclair had a hat trick for the New York Islanders. They spanked the Devils 9-0. Shout out Joe Lazzato. He is the biggest Islanders fan that I know, and he was texting me about my thoughts on the Islanders. I picked him to win. I had a good night in the picks last night. Told Joe that I'm considering a trip up to New York this spring when the Panthers are through there. I'm probably going to do it. Flights from South Florida to New York are ridiculously cheap, but I don't like flying in the winter, so thank God it's in March. Oh, and the Oilers have placed Tristan Jarry on long-term injured reserve. And you know what? That sucks, of course. I asked Oiler fans in hour 1, do you regret trading away Stuart Skinner yet? And nobody responded because I don't think they do regret it. And 2, Connor Ingram's getting the wins. I'm a Connor Ingram backer. From Imperial Sask, former Kamloops Blazer, World Junior netminder. I think he's got the chops to do it. So let him. Our picks are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Great place for watching football. As the manager, cool Kevin Smith, is fond of saying, we're a sports bar. Catch the NFL this weekend, Wild Card Weekend. 902-518-3033. Rich in Edmonton says, Jari back in 2 weeks, apparently long-term injured reserve for salary cap. Whatever it is, for salary cap reasons. Whatever it is, he's not available. So let's see what Connor Ingram can do. Coach Matt DeBuck has chimed in from here in South Florida. He says, Cody Fajardo is what's right with football. Class act and great competitor. Can you ask him if he can get Ben Victor the ball, please? I'll do what I can. By the way, producer Corey, has Cody logged in yet? My guess is they're talking to each other. Shannon writes in and says, Landman. Oh, he says, going back to my comment yesterday, Tim McGraw's daughter does appear on Landman. She plays the neighbor teenager that lives next door. She's the one that was flirting with Sam Elliott. I didn't know that. A couple of episodes ago. Shannon goes on to say, I live in Moose Jaw. Mad Greek for supper tonight, since you have got it in my head today. Would you please, Shannon, do me a favor and tell Johnny Utridis you saw us talking about him, the Mad Greek, on this show. That would help us out a lot. We don't ask for a lot. It would be great if you did that. It's 1:11 Eastern for those watching live. I'm not afraid to say it now. They watch in Vegas later on. We are in prime time in the evening in Vegas. But we're live on Game Plus TV. And it's 1:11 Eastern. Yes, I know that I met him. I'm not that stupid, Matt. Benjamin. He told me the whole deal on Cody Fajardo and why he was hemming and hawing on signing in Edmonton, and I'm so glad that it all worked out. The 6'5" former NFL receiver. Yes, I remember it well. Hang on. We haven't even got to football yet here, and we're almost out of time in this segment. Point 2, the quick 6. John Harbaugh has been fired after 18 seasons as Baltimore Ravens coach. Owner Steve Bisciotti said Tuesday he's relieved Harbaugh of his duties after the Ravens were one of the league's most disappointing teams this season. They went 8-9 and missed the playoffs after entering week 1 as one of the Super Bowl favorites. We talked about this last hour. If you need any more illustration of the difference between winning and losing, giving a coach a bonus or an extension or firing him, it was the end of Sunday Night Football. Tyler Loop missing a 44-yard field goal. He makes it. Ravens are in the playoffs. Steelers would not be right. And all of a sudden we're talking about whether Mike Tomlin has a job or not in Pittsburgh. And the Ravens are going to the playoffs. Instead, he misses the field goal. Harbaugh gets fired. And by the way, everybody's saying he's likely end up with the New York Giants. I feel like we should write this all down because all of the conjecture, all of the BS, all of the speculation becomes a little exhausting for me. I understand that it's fun, but it's like, oh, it's a slam dunk. He's going to the Giants, and then he'll be hired by Cleveland or Vegas. But I think we can all agree that nobody saw this coming. Monday and one of Monday or Tuesday's show, Scruffy and I were talking about this, and we both thought there was no way that they fire John Harbaugh. But the player always wins, especially in today's sports. Lamar Jackson won, and he did have a great year. It wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault they lost. Let's put it that way. By the way, I'm shoehorning this in. Point 3, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman will be joined by the owners of the Utah Mammoth at a news conference today at the University of Utah Stadium. Reports say the league will announce plans for an upcoming outdoor game. The NHL held its annual Winter Classic outdoor game last week in Miami, which we will be talking about on the Cats and Bolts podcast this afternoon. A fan asked me, I'll do a spoiler alert here. The fan goes, how would you rate 1 to 10 the Winter Classic in Miami? I would rate it an 11. Aside from the Panthers' effort where they lost 5-1, but they made it snow in Lone Depot Park, which it was like the Olympics. So it's an 11 out of 10 for me, the Winter Classic in Miami. And you kind of got to go. This is twice now that I mentioned Brian Munn's on the air, longtime Winnipeg Jets broadcaster. He goes, you got to go. It's like a Grey Cup. It's like a Super Bowl. He's right. It's very addicting. Now I want to go to Dallas. Then I'm going to want to go to Utah. Cody Fajardo joins us next. We can't wait. Everybody's excited for the chat. From the Edmonton Elks and Nevada Wolfpack, great as well. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
It's the RP Show. Have you signed up yet for the RodPedersen.com newsletter, the Rod Squad newsletter? You can. It's free. It's brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit SudsRegina.com. They will shine like Cody's smiling teeth. Happy New Year, Cody Fajardo. How you doing, my guy?
RP, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. For those that don't know, I can't imagine any that wouldn't. Cody Fajardo from, do you say it Brea, California? Is that how you say your hometown?
Brea.
Brea? Okay.
Yeah.
But you're making your home in Reno now, right?
That's correct. That's where the boss was from, and so we settled here. And it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Reno, but mountains. We get all 4 seasons. You know, hot in the summer, cold in the winter. It's everything you want.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've had many invitations to go there. A good friend of mine, NHL goalie named Clint Malarchuk, is there. He's a horse dentist. Did you know there's such a thing as horse dentists? That's what he does in Reno, Nevada. So I'll have 2 people to visit, you and him. Cody played at Nevada 2010 to 2014, and then the CFL 2015 until now. And listen, a month ago you said, I'll come on when I know where I'm going to be playing. I guess now you know, and it looks like it all went well, your new deal with Edmonton.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was, we had a lot of long, extensive talks with my wife and family and just seeing if it was in the cards. And it just kept coming up, Edmonton Elks 2026. Every single time we were talking about it, the way things finished last year, watching 2 teams that our club beat in 2025 in the Grey Cup just went to show that we're not as far off as people I think believe that we are. And so I wanted to be a part of this change and this transition. And I was excited about the opportunity and to be the opportunity to be the starting quarterback from week 1 and hopefully bring this team to the playoffs and a Grey Cup run for the first time since 2019. You know, when I first got in this league, Edmonton was the city of champions. It was hard to play in Edmonton. It was very tough teams that won a lot of football games. And so I want to be a part of that turnaround, and Coach Killam and Ed are the right guys in the right situation. And so I'm extremely excited about my opportunity to help lead this team to get to where we want to go.
You're the perfect guy. The fans there love you, but here's what I didn't really tell you. You were kind of vague on this whole deal, right? So when you said you didn't really know where you were going to be, I texted my friends with the Elks. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you jerking around, Cody? They're like, no, we want him. Like there was a big desire there on their behalf. And obviously yours too.
Absolutely. I got a couple interests from other teams and other clubs. But like I said in my exit meetings with the media, I said, look, if I'm going to play football in 2026, it's going to be with Edmonton Elks. I kind of showed my hand. They showed their hand. They knew that they wanted me back. It made negotiations go very easy. Both sides compromised in order to get the best football team around me, but also make me feel valued as a starting quarterback, and obviously taking a pay cut last year to be the backup and then come in halfway through the year. So there was a compromise from both sides, but both teams and groups wanted to get it done, and we did. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what Ed does in free agency. I know he's always pretty aggressive in free agency. I don't think we're very far off with the conversations that we've had with the holes that we need to fill on the team. Like, we have a lot of young, talented players that, if nothing changes roster-wise in free agency and we just roll over the same roster that we had last year, we're already going to be better because of guys. You talk about Benjamin Victor, guys who have played just 1 year in the CFL and got so much better through getting thrown into the fire. Like, we were playing meaningful football games late into October, and that helped those young guys grow up and understand the CFL game. So we'll be better regardless, just because our young guys have grown up through those growing pains.
Okay, so a couple of things here. Number one, Rich writes in from Edmonton. He says, Cody's exactly what was needed to rejuvenate the franchise. I couldn't agree more. Benjamin, by the way, I ran into him on a football field in Fort Lauderdale. He told me everything. He told me about the Nevada coaching job offer. He told me what Laura had to say. I'm like, well, I'm just going to be quiet about this. But like with the coaching offer, that's flattering. Can you explain that? Because it's out there now.
Yeah,
I see the 3 Down Nation reported it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a little bit of lost in translation. Like, there's a huge contract. And I lost one clear that talks. Look, we're done. As much the prime age. I can always coach. I know for so long. I want to play.
Okay. I need to pause you for a sec. Your sound is breaking up, and I don't know what that is. If it's your earpiece or what would you suggest, Producer Corey? Does he need to hit refresh? Just hit refresh. I'm sitting here trying to read his lips. That's how bad it got, Cody. So let me know when you've done. Okay. Can you speak to me? There you go. You got me?
Let's try.
Can you hear me?
How's this?
There you go. Okay. It's fine. And then the screen went black. So just hit just hit I'm just sitting there on. Okay. Hanging on every word. And I guess the good thing for me is I know Cody well enough. You got what he was saying, right? He was just hitting the peak of 34-35 in terms of being a quarterback in the Canadian Football League. Jason in Red Deer says it's still staticky when Rod is talking. We'll get it. We'll work on it. Coach DeBuck says, dang it. No, I'm going. It all had to do with Cody's headphones. They were dying. I've done this enough through 1,650 episodes that I'm fully aware of what's going on. Jeff the Stamps fan says there is a malfunction at the junction. Yeah, like we don't know that. It's, to be honest, it reminds me a lot of when people sit back and point out what's wrong with their favorite football team. It's like, do you think the coaches don't know that? They've known that for months. They knew that before you knew that. Anyways, I can hear Cody now. So we have him. Do you want to bring him on the screen again? It's just his headphones were done. Yeah, we got you, man. We got you. So basically, he's going to bring your video up here, or you can continue to talk before we see you, Cody. But you were just saying that 34, 35? The age of 34, 35 is just hitting your peak in the CFL? Was the sense that I got?
Yeah. I feel like I'm playing some of my best ball, honestly. And if you look at my stats through the last couple of years, I feel like I'm really hitting my stride. I know that coaching's always going to be there for me. You can only play for so long. And so I'm trying to train as long as I can. I know it's difficult on my wife staying back and working a job and having 2 kids. So that went into a lot of the decision. But just going to negotiations, and we're able to kind of do some things here to help my wife, make it a little bit more convenient for her with a starting quarterback salary. And so that's what we're excited about. But 2026 is going to be a great year for the Elks. And I keep telling people all the time. Last year, we had 3 new systems. We had an offensive system that was new, defensive system that was new, team system that was new, a new head coach that was trying to bring in his own culture. You look around the NFL, you see a lot of these teams that are in their second year coach. They're having great years. Look at the Seattle Seahawks, for instance. They're having a great year. It's that first year is a lot of growing last year, and we played some meaningful football. But the fact that we're going to be able to hit the ground running, there's not a lot of free agents on the list. We probably have the least amount of free agents out of any team. So we're gonna add a couple players that's gonna make us better. But when we hit the ground running in training camp, we're gonna get the complex plays from the get-go. Everybody's gonna understand the culture. We're all in, and it's gonna be exciting times for the Edmonton Elks in 2026. And I'm just happy to be a small piece of that.
Well, it's interesting. Well, you are the face of the team. There's no doubt about that. But I was reading this morning about you. Tell me, go back to the Nevada career. I told you we're now on the air, Silver State Sports Entertainment Network across Nevada. It said the year that you came into prominence with the Wolfpack, you came off the bench and won your first 5 games. I'm like, well, that's kind of a Cody thing. That's what happened last year. Yeah. What was that story in Reno?
Yeah, so it's actually quite interesting. My Reno story is very. I was a redshirt freshman. I redshirted my first year. My second year, there was a 6-year senior there. We were playing at Texas Tech in the 3rd week of the year, and Coach Alt comes to me and says, "Hey, look, we're gonna play. I don't know when, but we're gonna play you." So I'm a freshman. I'm nervous. It's 86,000 in Texas Tech Stadium, and first series after like a couple first downs, he's like, "All right, Cody, you're in." I'm like, "What? We're moving the ball." So he calls his zone read. In my head, I'm like, what the defensive end does, I'm going to pull it and I'm going to run it. So I pull the ball. I try to run, get the outside, get tackled for a loss. He pulls me out of the game. He says, "Hey, you're not to the game." I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like it felt like a big moment for me. 2 series later, he's like, "Cody, you're back in." Calls the same exact play. me being a dumb freshman that I was, I said, no matter what the defensive end does, if he crashes or if I'll pull this. Luckily, he crashed down. I pulled it. I went for like a 25-yard gain, and he left me in the rest of the game. We took Texas Tech down to the wire. I ended up separating my shoulder in the fourth quarter with like 3 minutes left. We lost that game. And then I ended up missing one game the following week and then came back to be the actual starter. And then we rallied up 5 straight wins. So, it's just like you said, a testament to my career. I feel like I've always, when given the opportunity, I've been able to perform. And that's something I hold myself very highly to, is that when the game's on the line and the lights are brightest, I feel like I play my best football. And that's something that I attribute to just my mental health and people around me, including my wife and just the people that have helped me get to where I am today. I believe that when the moment's the most pressure-packed and the biggest, I feel the most comfortable.
Well, and you've got now the resume to back that up. But I want to talk about, you can't do it alone. And you got that little back there in Edmonton. What is he, number 9? Single digit. Like every time you put the ball in his hands, he's a threat to score. He came from the Vegas indoor team, right?
Yeah, Justin Rankin, he's pretty dang incredible. He's not only is he one of the best running backs I've ever been around physically, he's actually the smartest running back I've ever been around. We had some injuries at receiver late in the year, and we're really thin at receiver. And he came to me and McSimmons and said, "Look, I know the playbook. I can play this position at receiver if you need me." We're like, "You're the best running back in the league. Like, we need you at running back." But it just goes to show just how incredibly he is with his football IQ. He was a big reason why I chose to want to come back, and watching him. And when you have a really good run game, one, you need it for the playoffs. So when we make that playoff run, it's going to be very pivotal for us to have a great run game with him. And two, when you have talented guys around you where you feel like you don't have to do everything and you have to be this superhero, it allows you to play a little bit more free. And I feel that with him, and that's what's exciting about offense moving forward is the two biggest pieces of our backfield last year are both come back, and like I said, we're going to hit the ground running.
Well, and yet, like you say, you'll be the starter going into week 1. Fans, we have a lot of viewers in Edmonton, and fans like it when the players talk about the fans. Tell me what it's like playing for those fans. The crowds were coming back. Like I love Edmonton. They're first. I've had rivalries with just about every fan base in the CFL, but in Edmonton, I never did because they're so classy. I couldn't get in a fight with them. They're great people. You were only there a year, but you got that sense, man. They're a classy fan base that just want their team to do well.
Look, salt of the earth is a blue collar town that people just put their nose down and work and work and work and save up every penny they can to go watch the Edmonton Elks play football. And I respect that. Like you said, the crowds were getting much better as the season progressed, as we were playing important games. And there's no coincidence that we were winning those football games and had the best stretch of home win games just because of our talent on the field. It was because of the fans in the stands. Like, they made it very hard for opposing offenses to perform. I remember the Labor Day rematch, and Vernon Adams had a game-winning drive that he had to go, and he's trying to make some checks at the line, and it was extremely loud, and he wasn't able to communicate. There were some issues, some false starts, and that's a big part of the game. And I don't know how many fans actually realize how much they impact the game. Everybody talks about it, but you hear it from me here first. You guys impact the game more than you even know, especially offensively. Like, we can feel that excitement and energy. And when we take the field, it's like, okay, our fans are buzzing. Let's give them something to be excited about. And then you push the ball down the field, and guys want to make big plays and want to score touchdowns, and defensive guys want to make stops. So they're a big part of that turnaround as well for us. And I hope that the excitement of last year gets us rolling into the beginning part of the season. Our schedule doesn't line up well, as we're on the road for week 1 and then a bye week for the second week. But then we get that home game against Montreal, and I hope our fans are extremely excited. I've been very pleased with our fans there, just the way that they brought me in. And even when I signed as a backup, everybody was just so understanding of my situation and for me just to be a part of the organization. And I can't thank the fans enough for just the way that they've brought me into Edmonton as one of their own.
Well, I think there are some very exciting things on the horizon in Edmonton. We're running out of time. I hope to get their questions plus mine in. We only got about 5 minutes left with you. Rich in Edmonton says it was rocking, that Labor Day rematch. Jeff, the Stampeders fan, says, Cody, what was the difference in the Labor Day rematch as to why you were able to dominate the Stampeders?
Yeah, we were able to run the ball better. I think the Labor Day game that got away from us, one, we had a lot of new players playing in that game, and that was one of the biggest games of the year. Just the excitement around Labor Day. A lot of our young guys just didn't have that experience yet of playing in that Labor Day game where there's a lot more media attention. There's a lot more excitement around the game. And we went down to Calgary and got our butts kicked. We were playing from behind, a couple bad mistakes here and there. And then all of a sudden we just couldn't catch up. The following week, there was two ways the team could have went. It could either went left where it was like, you know what, we just got beat, whatever, our season's over, or it goes right and it's like, hey, we still have a chance to turn. And that's when I knew we had the right guys in the locker room, and Ed and Killam brought the right guys in that locker room, because that work week was one of the best work weeks we've ever had throughout the entire season. And it showed on game day. It showed when we showed up and we were able to run the ball. We were able to throw the ball. We didn't turn the ball over. And our defense played lights out. Like, they held them, I think, to, a low, I don't know exactly the number, but low number at halftime, and just gave our offense some great field positions. So a lot of our guys got their feet wet for Labor Day, and then the Labor Day rematch. We wanted to show out knowing it was going to be our biggest crowd of the year. We wanted to show out for our fans, and we
only a couple of minutes left, but what's a meeting like in a room with just you and Mark Killam? I feel like we need to bring the energy down. You're both so intense. What's that like?
We resonate so well with each other. We both have that FU in us. A lot of people doubt us. A lot of people have told us we can't do this, can't do that. And so that helps us resonate with each other. In our exit meetings, we had some great conversations. I remember there was one practice. He made it late in the year. He made a comment about our second team not completing the ball, but he didn't talk about the second team. He's just like, we haven't completed a ball all day. And that lit a fire under me. And that's when I realized, like, we kind of get after each other within respect. Like, we have a respect for each other, but we're competitors. And then the whole rest of the practice, we were just chirping each other. And I think the guys saw it, and it just kind of brought some excitement to the team. And so he's a huge reason why I want to be back. I think he's only going to get better in his second year as a head coach. Just the way he handled the team through some tough times and through some tough decisions. Like, he had to make some tough decisions as a first-year head coach in the CFL. It wasn't easy on him either. And then also just getting off to that slow start that we did. Like, there was a lot of pressure on him. The way that he handled the media and he handled everything, but behind closed doors, that's where you got to see him shine, just the person he was. And like I said, he's a big reason why I wanted to come back, and he's always treated me with respect. And I want to win for him because I know how much he pours into this team and this organization.
Eric in Vancouver writes in, he says, can't help but like this guy. Lots of positive vibes. Cody's all right. Cody's okay. All right. My best to your family, Cody. Go Elks. Can't wait to see you. All the best in 2026.
RP, it's always great to get to you with you, and appreciate you having me on the show. And thanks, fans. And
he's gone. We ran out of time. We got the gist of it, Cody. Great job down there in Reno. We'll be right back.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RP Show, which is brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 using the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Oh, everybody's raving about the interview with Cody Fajardo, which doesn't surprise me at all. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, he says, Cody's helping fill the stands at Commonwealth Stadium. Good for the CFL. God bless. Good luck, Cody. Coach DeBuck down here in South Florida says it's crazy to think how teams gave up on him. Such a positive guy. What a quarterback should be. I don't get it either. And here's the thing, Coach DeBuck. I have the conversations with the CFL coaches just like I do with you and your coaches. And one time I remember sitting in a coach's office. I'm like, what are you not seeing in him? It was a team that had Cody, but not anymore. And he goes, well, our offensive guys say that he can't play. Well, what I saw was him throwing the winning touchdown on the last play of the Grey Cup in 2023 to be named, but whatever. Okay. And how's your team doing now? Anyways, I do get a little offended when it comes to my guys. Trying to get over that, but I probably never will. A sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Clearly, I'm a big fan of a place like that. The Montreal Canadiens have a chance to gain some ground on their Atlantic Division rivals tonight. The Habs will entertain the Calgary Flames in one of 5 NHL games. Montreal is 2 points behind Detroit and 3 back of Tampa Bay. The Red Wings and Lightning are idle. The Ottawa Senators will visit Utah. And speaking of, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman was joined by owners of the Utah Mammoth at a news conference today at the University of Utah Stadium. The league announcing plans for an upcoming outdoor game. The NHL held its annual Winter Classic outdoor game last week in Miami. Back to that Cats and Bolts podcast I do down here in Florida, Florida's favorite hockey show. Somebody said, how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, the Winter Classic? I said, an 11. The Toronto Raptors trying to extend their win streak to 3 games tonight in Charlotte. Toronto 4th in the NBA's Eastern Conference standings, while the Hornets are 12th. The LPGA's first major of the year is on the move. The Chevron Championship will be played this year at Memorial Park in Houston. It had been played on a course about 65 kilometers north of the city, the club at Carlton Woods, since 2023. Chevron officials say the move is to be closer to company headquarters in Houston and to make things more accessible for local fans. Again, the sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game days gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. And thank you, Shannon, by the way, for saying you're going to say hey to Johnny Utretas at the Mad Greek tonight when you head in there. I appreciate that. Laverne in the Frontier City writes in. He says, so now that Baltimore is looking for a new head coach, Laverne writing in on the Western Dodge text line, says, does that make the Ravens the number one team that head coaches would want to go to? Maybe. I'm feeling like the New York Giants are quite attractive as well. Kind of one makes you wonder why Brian Daboll didn't have success there, because I think Brian Daboll is a good coach. The rumor is he's going to be surfacing in Vegas as an offensive coordinator there. Is Baltimore now the most attractive opening? I still think it's Atlanta. Jim writes in from Balgoni. He says, enjoyed your interview with mine, Cody. That's why, my Cody. I don't care what color jersey he wears or what team he works for. I will always support him because he is such a great person. Cheers, all. If that couldn't, it would be great if that was always the case with sports fans. But I get it. I understand Dak Prescott is a hell of a guy. Did you get the Cowboys into the playoffs? No. Wayne in BC writes in and he says, it sounds like you had a fun childhood with your brothers growing up. I was born and raised in Saskatchewan, but I only spent time on my grandparents' farm, which was a grain farm only. Fun would be one way to term it, yes. But I will say the second grade 12 was done. Bye. Which incidentally, my dad was, bye. He was okay with it. Max is watching in Toronto. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, I was at that 2023 Grey Cup cheering for the Bombers. Definitely won't forget how Fajardo got that first down from 3rd and long and then passed for the touchdown. I'm watching it right now. Overtime's coming up. We'll put a bow on a tremendous show right after this. You're watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and, of course, Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is time for Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And you can find them at 28th Street Northeast. Calgary, what more needs to be said? We've been talking about them every day for years on this show. Longtime partners of the crew and of this show, the RP show. It's an amusement park for hockey players. What more needs to be said? Office parties, team parties, birthday parties, you name it, they can do it all. Just look up Randy and Michelle and tell them the RP show sent you. Where skill and fun collide. Hockey, that is. Wayne, writing in from Victoria, BC, says, what a great RP show today, Rod and crew. Mind you, it's always a lot of fun to watch. Thank you, Wayne. My goal every day is to entertain you. I think we do a good job of that. It's interesting about, Coach DeBuck writing in about Cody Fajardo. I mean, the guy's won a couple of Grey Cups. One as a backup, one as a starter, but he's been shown the door in a lot of places. Life shouldn't, and it doesn't have to define you on your struggles. It should hopefully be defined by how you overcome those struggles and triumph. And Cody Fajardo is the quintessential example of that. He's so inspirational. Yeah, and I'll say it again. We never did spend a day together with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He came in 1 year after 20 seasons with the club, but we just clicked. There's just something about personalities that do, and we'll always have each other's backs. It's been a great chat with Cody. By the way, here in overtime, if we have time, there's only 5 games in the NHL tonight, so I was 8 of 10 in picks last night. Not a big deal. Kind of a big deal. It was 0 for 5 the night before. Don't follow me for betting advice. I told you that. But last night, you'd have been in the money if you had. One of the only games, I had 2 games wrong out of 10. One was the Panthers at the Leafs. As they say, don't bet on your team. Not that the Panthers are necessarily my team, but they're very hard to get a read on. Which you would think watching them every game you would, but I don't. Dallas at Washington tonight. I'm going with the Stars. Calgary Flames at Montreal. I'm sorry, Flames fans in Calgary. I got to go with the Habs. I'm a Habs backer. St. Louis at Chicago. A classic Norris division matchup. Blackhawks have won 3 in a row. I'm going to say make it 4. Ottawa at Utah tonight. I think Mammoth are going to win, especially after they announced the big outdoor game coming to Utah. San Jose at Los Angeles. I think the Sharks. Sharks won big last night. So only 5 in the NHL. Those are our picks. We call them breakaway picks, sport betting, where we bet. Don't put any money on it. It's very safe. I'm a very safe guy. which is I'm happy to say that. 902-518-3033 is the number to text us here. In the time we have left on this Wednesday, episode number 1650. 12 games in the NBA tonight. As far as our teams go, Phoenix. You're saying, why Phoenix? Because, as I've learned, Phoenix Suns are the NBA team of choice of the state of Nevada. I found that out very fast from our people at the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. Although once they get their own team, that will be out the window. And the Raptors, as mentioned earlier, are at Charlotte tonight. Carlos in Indianapolis chiming in. Great show, everyone. Hope tomorrow's show is just as good. I'm sure it will be. We'll try not to let you down. That's the... Don't say it. I don't even know who tomorrow's main guest is. Kevin the Medium will be co-hosting in hour 1. I'm not sure. Do I want to go hockey? Do I want to go football? I don't know. The Fiesta Bowl is Thursday night, and one thing that I'm realizing here, and I learned this a long time ago, you can't be everywhere. I'm actually at peace with it, but all of the South Florida media are in Phoenix. They're all posting photos by the cactuses, and it is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place, Arizona, Glendale, where they're going to play the game, the Fiesta Bowl. I remember being there for the Fiesta Bowl. Washington Huskies were playing New Mexico State. I had just bought a white Under Armour pullover earlier in the day. It was white. Bad idea. Go to get a picture taken with Mark Mueller at the football game at the Fiesta Bowl. I glopped nacho cheese all down the front of it. God, that's my Fiesta Bowl story. Miami versus Ole Miss, by the way, are the teams. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. Do you want us to talk about that tomorrow? And then Friday's the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Oregon versus Indiana. Me and my neighbor Fish are making plans for where we're going to watch the Fiesta Bowl. It's a big deal around here. Dolphins are out. Hurricanes have a chance to play for the national championship in their own stadium Monday, January 19th. That's pretty exciting. Glenn is watching in Medicine Hat. Glenn Erickson, our hockey writer from rodpedersen.com. He says the WHL trade deadline is tomorrow. Thank you, Glenn. I'm waiting for your latest column, by the way. And I see the Prince Albert Raiders made a big deal yesterday. A big splash. I'm keeping an eye on everything. People think that I'm not, but I am. I just don't talk about it all right here. WHL trade deadline, not a big deal in Nevada, or for that matter, Toronto, I don't think. But it's a big deal to those that follow and those that observe, those that celebrate. Brent in the Bridge City. RP Show, great way to start your day. That, a good workout, a meeting if that's your thing. Yeah, more than anything, just happy to have you aboard. We have not yet got to NFL Wildcard Weekend all week long because we've had a lot of other things to talk about. Yeah, I'm feeling like tomorrow will be a big football day. We'll see. I got to get through the Cats and Bolts podcast first. In our top 5, bottom 5 in the NHL, I'm going to push that to tomorrow. I got it here. It's going to be surprising for a lot of folks. Great to have you back, Rich in Edmonton. Thank you, man. Glad you survived it. Thanks to Cody Fajardo. Thanks to producer Corey and his crew, our entire staff. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Noon Eastern here on Game Plus TV and prime time on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
That